Well, hi everybody, Adam Collingwood again here, and today it's the 5th of January. It's a Friday, and what we're going to do today is just review the trades of the day. We're looking at the chart as usual of the German 40, the DAX, 1 minute chart. If you've seen the previous videos, you'll see the format of how we trade the system and strategies therein. So let's start off by looking, by the way, this is a non-farm payroll, so first Friday of the month, and that will affect what happens on the DAX at 1:30, which we'll get to that, but there's a great trade a little bit later to look at. So what we can see is this morning building up to the DAX open at 7 o'clock. Everything's pretty flat. We can see that on the on-balance volume. That's just kind of flatlining. You can see in the directional movement index bars are very small there. So not doing too much until the DAX opens at 7 and we start to get a little bit of movement here. And it starts to move up above this high here of 16,529, and it hits the 50-200 smoothing average on the 1 minute chart. And so there's no trade, though this was above the Supertrend 310 and the Supertrend 510, because the price was still below the 50-200. If we went back a little bit earlier, we'll see that the DAX overnight had fell a little bit, and so was still in a downward trend. So if we can just go back and see that just here, so you can see that high at 16,550, that was at 6:02 in the morning, and it dropped all the way down to 16,508 before the DAX opened, 8 o'clock German time, 7 o'clock UK time. So it started to climb, touch the 50-200. So where's the first trade today? Well, it was here. Okay, so it touched the 50-200. We could either take it as it crossed through Supertrend 310. So sell here at 16,534 with a stop above here at 16,544. So just a pip above here, 16,543, really. It says 16,542.9, but it's really 16,543 we're looking at. So point above there. So your stop there is only 10 pips. Okay, so that's the risk that you're taking on this trade by selling there. So it's below the 50-200. So we're looking for this to continue its descent. And what do we see happen next? It comes down through yellow line here, Supertrend 510, and the 2050 blue dotted line here, the smoothing average. So nice little trade here. So as it fell from 16,534, it dropped to a low of 16,490 before starting to climb again. Now, what's significant here? Well, this was the London Stock Exchange opening. So this is as far as it dropped, and then it started to climb as soon as London opened. So where's the next trade that we're looking at? Well, you can see that the DAX met some resistance up here at 16,548. So started to rise a little bit, broke that previous high there, 16,542. And then from this trend line, you can see it started selling off again. So the next trade was here as it crossed back down through the 50-200 smoothing average. It's crossed through Supertrend here, and again what we are looking for is all our ducks in a row, so we can see that the awesome oscillator crossed below the zero line on this 1 minute chart. So price comes down through Supertrend 310. This is below the zero line. It's all red on rock and roll, and we can see the OBV is starting to drop here, quite below the 100 EMA, but it's starting to fall. And of course, here we have the directional movement index below the zero line going red here. Okay, so these are all great indicators that the DAX is falling. So an entry from here, 16,523. And where would the stop be? In this case, what we're doing is we're putting the stop up here. In this case, it crosses through here, so 16,545. So here there is a 22 pip stop. Now you can see it just climbed a little bit, just touched the 5200, so it got nowhere near that, and then it started to drop nicely for us. So from that entry there at 16,523, the DAX fell through, super trend 510 as well there, and got to a low here of 16,466. And you can see the bars here on the awesome oscillator were starting to get bigger as that sell happened, and of course the OBV, this line here, crossed through the 100 EMA, continued to fall, and the same with the DMI here. Okay, so that was the next trade. Now, had you tried to, if you were thinking, well, the DAX perhaps is starting to climb now because it's got to low of 16,466 and it got all the way back to 16,524 up here, but there's no trade on here. The price is still below the 5,200, so yes, we could take a risk and get in here, potentially make some pips, but really if we bought there, we'd be getting out there, so we'd have probably just made a slight loss there. But because it's below the 5,200, it's not really the ideal trade to take on here. Alright, so where's the next one? Well, the next one, again, below the 5,200, it's starting to continue to move down again, and our next trade was here. Okay, so it crossed through there, price was 16,494, fell to 16,474. Okay, so we got in here as it just crossed below the zero line, all red on rock and roll, still above on the OBV, but all red here. Okay, and then after that, it again naturally climbed, got to this high here of 16,509. There's no trade at all there. We're waiting for the next one to happen. Again, below the 5,200 smoothing average, it's falling. So we're looking to sell here at 16,486, and the stop was up here, 509, 16,510. Okay, so from 16,510, we're talking 25 pips. Stop price crosses through here, below the zero line, rock and roll red, DMI all red here as well. But something that's happened, I just wanted to show you here, is the ADX staying on the line that I draw here, which is a 20. I'd like to see more strength really. Did get to 27. Is just mirroring what's happening. So that's telling me the ADX has risen a little bit, but it's not huge volume at all. But nevertheless, it was still a nice little trade there from 16,486. Got to as low as 16,454, and then out at that here. Okay, so the trade wasn't closed here at 16,454. It was left open to see if the momentum continued down towards support 2. That didn't happen, so the trade was closed here, and you can see above the zero line on the oscillator, it starts to turn green and rock and roll, rises on the OBV, and green again on the DMI. You see how this works? It's all about just making sure we're keeping an eye on what else is happening here and how these are turning green or red, just in line with the price action. So these are just all supporting what's happening up here. Okay, so we then again had another move down from here after it risen to 16,456. It fell to, so that was the previous low. Tried to reach that, and then it lifted from this area here. Okay, so we then see the price moving up and crossing through the 5200 smoothing average, and here you can see it starting to like just move sideways, and there's a lot of indecision at this point. So as it's crossed up, what we can see here, well, there's a major resistance level at that point, which was at 16,501. Okay, so it needed to break through that level, which was a 1 hour level of resistance. So this line's on the chart because it's just telling us what the high was on a 1 hour chart on candles, previous price action over the last day. Okay, so that's a key area, that 1 hour. You can see on the right there, 16,502. So it hit there and then started to sell off again. So next trade was just as it was crossing through here. It's at 16,485, but I'm still conscious 130 is coming when non-farm payroll happens, and we're not doing anything when 130 happens because it's just too volatile at that point. I have no idea which way the market's going to go, but we'll have a look at that shortly. You can see this great big red candle here. So it's pushed through super trend here, black line, through the 5200 smoothing average. Everything's all turns green there. So had you taken a little trade there, you have to be ever so careful because it needs to be closed before 130. We do not want to stay in the trade. So this is what happened at 130. The numbers, non-farm payroll was, I think, 170,000 jobs estimated, and the actual number was 216,000. So it's higher than anticipated. And employment was also slightly up as well. It's something like about 3.3%, something like that, and only ever so slight 0.1% increase. But that just meant that we had this big move happening with non-farm payroll, the employment numbers coming out of America. So that candle came down from this area around 16,507 and dropped to 16,443. Now, if you were a gambling person, you'd have done well on that if you'd just taken a sell, but I just don't know what's going to happen. It could have gone either way there. So we're waiting for this to settle down for an opportunity to buy or sell again. Now, what we can see is on the chart, the OBV starts to rise here. So there's been a cross above the 5200 above super trend there as well, but did not trade at that point because there's still quite a bit of volatility there. So what we're waiting for is this resistance point here, 16,502. It needed to break through there and break through this previous high, and especially through 16,514. So this was where the opportunity was. You can see on the awesome oscillator these bars, little teeth to start with, the green on rock and roll, and then the DMI is also green. These are starting to get bigger. So the entry was as the price pushed through super trend here, 16,512. We got it at 16,514 and continued to stay in the trade. Why would we stay in the trade? Well, everything's looking good on the awesome oscillator. Everything's green here. Everything's green on the DMI, and we're seeing the on-balance volume showing real volume of buying there, and it's above the 100 EMA. Okay, so price does start to rise and then it comes back again, but it stays above the 100 EMA. Now, what you could do here is you could have closed the trade and you'd have just made a small loss. But if you had any fear at all that the price might start to drop back again, then absolutely fine to close the trade. On the awesome oscillator, these started to get lower. The same, just the directional movement index. Then what we saw happen, and I'm just going to show you where this next trade was. So everything is still above the 50-200 smoothing average, and the 20/50 smoothing average. That's crossed the red there, which bodes very well. Okay, it's kind of like a golden cross there when the one averages cross the other. I like smoothing averages, so we have got the 200 EMA on there, but I like the two smoothing averages, the 20/50 and the 50/200. So that's 20 lots of 1 minute, 50 lots of 1 minute, and then there's a smoothing effect of that, and then 50 lots of 1 minute, 200 lots of 1 minute, and the smoothing average of that blended here. Okay, so we can see that the price action has stayed above the 20/50 and stayed above the 50/200, and also importantly, had you got in here and you wanted more wriggle room, so you wanted a bigger stop, the entry here is 16,512, so we got in at 16,514. Now you can have the stop down here, quite a number of pips there. So what we do is we'll look to see if the super trend line here, this 510, is moving up with this price action, and put a stop here. I don't like a stop too big down here, it's just too much of a risk there. But because the price movement happened so quickly, this is why this was kind of so far down here. So even a stop below the 50/200 would have been fine there. But as long as you do have a stop loss in place and you've measured the risk to reward ratio so that you can determine how much the quantity of the trade that you're making there. Okay, it's just so the size of the trade is everything, and based on the pips. I've talked about that many times in the past about calculating how much risk you're putting on a trade. The reason that's important is you could be putting 40 pips of risk on, and if you're trading at say £10 a point, that's a risk of 400. Well, you may only want to risk £200 on a trade rather than 400, so you need to really calculate before you place a trade to know the numbers, how much risk you're prepared to take, and if you're risking a higher amount of pips, then you need to reduce the trade size. So the next trade, everything's above the 50/200, price needs to start to break above this previous high of 16,542. Okay, it does. It pushes this super trend 310. It's already above super trend 510, and of course everything is perfect on all of these indicators. OBV is all above the 100 EMA and all green on rock and roll. So lovely little trade here, 16,535, and then you stay in the trade because the super trend 310, the black line, is shadowing the price action. So is super trend 510. The moving averages are starting to rise, also shadowing the upward price action. And so from here, entering this point 16,537, beautiful little trade here. As I say, you just stay in all the way whilst it stays above these moving averages and the super trend lines, and I'll show you how far it got to resistance 1, which is our target, which is at 16,648. So from entry, this is the trade of the day, from 538 there up to here. There you go, there's your 100 pips, about 110 pips there. So beautiful trade, and at that point we're done for the day. So 3 o'clock, take the rest of the afternoon off. The work has been done. Did we know that was going to happen? Of course we didn't. We're just following the system and the strategy to the letter. Going back there, entry here, can you see beautiful move there? Get everything all green. Okay, from starting all the way back there, but we didn't get in at that point. We're in here as it's breaking through. It's broken that previous high. It's crossed through the super trend 310, and away she goes. Okay, so let's just go back here. So had you taken the first one on here, it could have continued to keep going up there, but we're not fortune tellers. We don't know if it had crossed through here, whether that was going to continue. So if you prefer to play it safe, in case that dropped all the way down through here, you could have got out at that point. But this is what I'm saying. So if you've got a bigger stop, if you entered here and you've got a bigger stop, then you just reduce the trade size. Okay, so that's important. If you need a bigger stop because you're entering there and you want to stop somewhere down here, then reduce the trade size. So it's all about how much wiggle room you're giving the trade as it's swinging up and down. So as I said, that's a perfect trade. Continues to keep rising, and there's 100 points there. Look at that beauty at 3 o'clock. That candle moved from 16,602 to 625. Okay, that was just a 1 minute candle, so that was all the way up till about 4 o'clock-ish. So we did see a drop. I didn't make any trades at this point. This was 4:15, so I took the afternoon off then after that trade. It's the 5th of January today, so you're just going to keep seeing this every day, how we're day trading the DAX. This isn't something I've just started doing. This has been happening for years now. I never know what's going to happen, but again, the important thing is to follow the system. So another nice day trading. If you do have any questions, then please put those in the comments below. For people that are very new to trading, this might be quite a lot to take in, but those of you that have traded for some time, you'll be able to see now how powerful the strategy is. There will be a lot more videos to just day trade the DAX, with stop trading as well, identifying individual shares to buy or short sell. There'll be lots more videos about that, but I want to consistently keep giving you kind of like a diary of what's happening with the DAX on a daily basis, by just keep reinforcing the system and the strategy that we use to help you become more consistently profitable. As I say, any questions, put those in the comments below. If you like the video, then please press the like button, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, then please subscribe. And I think there's like a little bell you can tap on, which will alert you to the next video when that's out. And if you do need any help at all, then you can get in touch. There should be like a link in the description below. You can get in touch that way. Otherwise, just keep watching the videos. Bye for now.